What if a single injury could change everything you thought you knew about healing? Today's guest went to discovering ancient wisdom that transformed not just her body, but her entire approach to life. This is the story of how pain became purpose.
Now available. Awakening I Am, Internal Awareness in an AI Age audiobook, and our Victory Builders platform, which integrated system for founders who execute, is open. Links in the description. Several years ago, I had a running accident. I ran too far, and I pulled my back. my whole body was seized up, and I remember walking into a yoga studio in Long Island, New York, and that was my first real introduction to yoga, my experience with Master Eli, who teach circle Pakwa yoga. All of the movements was in circles, and it was there I also became certified in energy healing, energy waves 1, energy waves 2, and it kind of opened up my mindset towards that level of healing modality, not just the physical. I went there for the physical, and I would soon learn that it just wasn't the physical, it was also something that happened within. And yoga is really, really good for building from within and then out. So although in the 90s we had this whole yoga body thing, and all the health magazines was talking about the yoga body and what that meant, but yoga works fast, it builds from within, and it helps in so many different areas. And there's a lot of misnomers. I would soon work with a guy in Manhattan, the Broome Street Connection Temple, called Eddie Stern, who brought me into Urban Yogis, which now I'm the director of. And I'm very passionate about the healing modalities of yoga, but then there's also, like I said, a greater level of spiritual or flexibility that comes not just in the body. And when we talk about flexibility, we talk about the flexibility in the body. That's my doggy, y'all. And but the flexibility that we can help others. I work with seniors, and to watch them get their mobility back, and to watch them lift their arms if they couldn't lift before, and just to be mindful of movement, teach them how to pick up their boxes, how to get up out of their beds. All of these are things that we take for granted that we think as we get older, naturally we're supposed to lose, but it's not necessary. My name is Noran Tillman. This is Walk in Victory, and we set you at the feet of the masters and have conversations to help you evolve your lives. And today's master is Veronica. I hope I said your name right.
Yeah,
Miss
Veronique.
Ory,
Yeah.
Veronique Ory. And today we're going to talk about movement and the things that you can do. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are just living a stressful life, and you already have workouts, because most people who are entrepreneurs and building anything, they usually try to find the time to work out or walk or do something else. We're going to talk about some other things that you can implement that can help you become the better you. Thank you, Miss Ori. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great. You don't mind tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
Yeah, thank you for that. And I really resonate with what you were sharing, just really what people assume and what is and really how we can dispel ideas of like, oh, I'm this age, I should be like this, or like, oh, I had this accident, the doctor said I should be like this. And I'm a really big advocate of our our being is meant to support our highest greatest self, and when we align to practices spiritually, emotionally, physically, then we can come into a place where we feel light and bright, is what I like to say, like where you feel like you're lit up by life, right? Like you're tapped into creativity, like you feel like you have purpose, you're like greeting people and you're like excited to be there versus like this kind of overwhelm and like, ugh, like, yeah, like, and I lived in New York most of my life, and there's such like a boasting about the busyness. There's like so much in the atmosphere of like go go go, like get this, do more, wanting to get after it. And so I'm really approaching this from coming into yoga where I didn't even realize I wasn't breathing. And then I stepped into my first yoga class in Astoria, Queens, and it just rocked my world. Like, I think it's not until we slow down, or unfortunately for a lot of us, it's like we have a significant injury or we get sick or we like maybe are like dealing with addiction or something serious happens where we feel like we have to find something. And so the hope is if you're listening and you're kind of like craving just like lifting the clouds somehow, that you can really be an advocate of living your life by design rather than by default, or feeling like, oh, once I get through this, then I'm going to prioritize travel, self-care, my well-being, my physical ability, all of that stuff. Kind of, we're like shamed. Like if we have like young kids, it's like, oh, like when the kids are out of the house, or like if we have aging parents, it's like, okay, like once I like get my dad like into recovery, or like, we're so sort of lured into these different things that we think like, okay, I have to like tend to these other people before I can tend to myself. And it's like you can tend to others and also tend to yourself. And in fact, like you're going to be of most use when you tend to yourself first. So I came from a theater background. I came from sort of like being a latchkey kid, trying to like figure things out, like I spent a lot of time just by myself. And then once I had a chance to slow down, I feel like yoga found me at the right moment where I was receptive, I was ready, and I went to classes and I felt like, okay, this feels really uplifting, right? Like you connect in community and you feel like, okay, I feel like this is family, like chosen family, right? And then you want more of that. And then after several years, I decided to get my yoga teacher certification. And so my entry point is the connection of bringing people together for thought provoking experiences, but also to be in the play and the creativity and allowing for each person to navigate the thing that actually lights them up. And so it could be traditional roll out your yoga mat and create shapes with your body, but it doesn't have to be. And I think this conversation is really important because we kind of dismiss certain things almost like in one fell swoop. It's like, oh, like that's not for me. But there's so many different styles, there's so many different teachers, there's so many different ways to approach it, that I really always say, like, do the moves that move you. And like movement in every sense, like physical, emotional, spiritual. So sometimes my practice is like, I gotta like shake and I gotta dance and I gotta move. And sometimes I just gotta be still. Like I'll just like lay down on my shag rug and like stretch. And so I think it's so important to witness like where you are. And certainly if you're in a hemisphere where it's cold right now, like maybe you're not about like going for a run, but it doesn't mean like you X out of movement until it's nice out, right? So we like want to find ways that we can be in movement all year, but in conversation with what's going on like in the exterior season as well as what's going on in the interior season, right? Like we can navigate kind of like a winter of our like emotional self, of like maybe you're going through a season of grief, maybe you're feeling like you're just overwhelmed, like work is really like pulling on you. Like this is what I've been hearing a lot, like people feel like their relationship feels heavy, their like kids are like asking too much, or like all of a sudden like in one week like three people I know like fell and like broke their arm or their elbow or their wrist. And so what tends to happen, right, is like we could be go go go, And then sometimes, like, it's like we need this interruption to be like, okay, like you're not taking rest by design. So the universe, the God, whatever your belief system is, I think like tries to help you get closer to getting to that light and bright spot by being like, okay, like you need like a little bit of help. And like I've been like trying to nudge you, but you haven't been listening. And so I'm going to give you like a more obvious sign. And so I was walking, I have a regular walk and talk with a girlfriend that we've been doing that every week for the last 7 years because we're like, can we just like not do like the coffee and the drinks? Like, can we just like walk and talk and like be in nature and be in movement? I think like the socialization with the movement is probably like the most therapeutic thing ever, where it doesn't have to be like, oh, I got to do the cardio, I got to do the weight training, I got to like do these things like check marks, but it's like, what do you actually want to do that uplifts your spirit? And so that's really what makes me light up personally. And I think like a lot of people resonate with that. And I think it's important to share because there's so much in the atmosphere about like, oh, you should do this, right? Like you could go on Instagram and just like in one like 5 minute scroll you could get like 18 different advices of like, this is the thing that you should do, right? And it's like, okay, like this worked for this person, but we all are individuals, we all have different needs, desires, things that turn us on, and so it doesn't have to be like the thing that this person that we follow does, but you could try it out and then make it your own. And ultimately I think that's like what it is. It's like do the thing that feels uplifting and grounding to you, and then like let that permeate all the lives that you touch and how you show up in work, in purpose, in all of it.
When I first started from the teaching standpoint, it was through Ashtanga, and that was my baseline. So that's very routine and very rigid. And the longer well, depending on who I was working with, I had to figure out what parts I know can work specific person need to be made as all of the floor movements, all of the push-ups may not be necessarily good for them. So I had to kind of take what I know, the bigger picture, and take what I know and then reduce into mini bites and what I call micro movements. Like when I'm working with seniors, just getting them to lift their head and their arms at the same time. But we'll start with one arm and just going as far as we can go, and eventually, because the win is not me getting them to lift their arms. The win is them knowing that they can lift their arms. The win is, all right, I can only lift here, but I now after 3 weeks I can lift a little bit higher. So that's important. Now for me, you're frozen, so I'm gonna keep going until I see you come back in. So if you are listening, micro movements and these small movements, which is what we're gonna talk about next, how to get the body prepped. And even in the wintertime, we have to look at how we get the keep the mobility in the body, because during the wintertime the bodies tend to tighten up or tend to freeze, and it tends to cause us lack of mobility where we want the mobility. We don't want to lose the mobility. And that's a natural reaction, that we lose the mobility. It's natural that we lose mobility. It's natural that things begin to tighten up and seize throughout this season. But there's certain things that we can do to ensure that the mobility comes back, and to ensure that we actually can stay lucid. And that's what these practices are for, to help us to stay flexible, to help us to stay lucid, to help us to really, really have the most valuable impact that we can have with our bodies, because our bodies are our resource. Yeah. So when we talk about making small movements, you're here for baby too, huh? We talk about making small movements that lead into bigger movements. You've actually coined your own system, so to say. Talk to us a little bit about that, and how did you come about it? Amen. There you go. Yes. Sorry, I'm with you. Had to let let him go. It's funny because I've been a pastor for like 12 some odd years, maybe even a little longer, 30 something. Oh wow. I started preaching when I was 24, but I didn't really get um and I believe in creation, the Bible narrative of creation. But I never really understood our connection with creation until I started practicing yoga and and meditation. When I did my certification with my meditation certification with the Chopra Foundation, it kind of even deepened that. So when we see a tree, you just see a tree. You don't really see yourself in the tree. But as I started to understand the body more, and the way that we think, and the way that the body is made up of water, now when I see all of creation, I see the harmony that we have with creation, and the healing modality that can present itself from walking barefoot in the grass, or just putting your feet into the water, and all of these little things that we kind of take for granted. And you don't have to be real woo woo, right, super spiritual, just to understand that there is a connection of energy. There's a connection of source. And especially growing up in the city where we cut all our trees down so the air is polluted. um with that in mind, how important is it in your training and your teaching, how important is nature to what it is that you do, and how do you apply what you know about nature to help your students? You're back. There you go. Together, yeah. Hmm. lost you again. God. Wanted to finish getting that answer. That was a great story. One of the things that I do, for those of you who are listening, is I oftentimes have people get into their meditative stance in noisy areas. Just especially because I'm from New York City too, and now I live in outside of the city. But being able to drown out the noise is very important for creativity. Sometimes when we are hustling and we're in a place of constant movement, it's hard for us to really quiet down and soften our posture and our stance so that we can tap into that creative being that is living within us and is dying to come out, actually. So, I try to make sure uh, to focus on the train sounds, focus on the buzzing of the air conditioner, focus in on the children making noise, and making that environment a part of who we are, like really really tapped into uh, who we are as beings, because that may be some of our realities. And if we can just give ourselves the freedom within to drown out the noise around us, then we can really really find liberation in the chaos or in the noise, in the hustle, in the bustle, on the trains, just really, really dialing back, still being aware and present of what's going on around you. Which is why it's important also not to just get in the habit of closing your eyes to meditate and stuff like that, because you don't want to feel like there's a set way to do it, anything. Meditation doesn't necessarily have to take on a posture of laying down or sitting or standing or closing your eyes. Some people have things going on where they don't feel comfortable closing their eyes around other people in the room. So there has to be a sense and a level of freedom to be able to explore how can I be present in the middle of chaotic situations? How can I be present in the midst of loud noises? How can I still be present with myself? When we look within, when we are are really fine tuning our minds, what we're looking to do is to quiet the noise that is within us, right? So every time we meditate, we want to widen the gap between our thoughts, because every thought that we has a rigid gap between it. But it seems as if the thought is just like one long line. So when we are breathing, whether we're using breath meditation or whether we're sitting in silence or whether we're listening to our voice or whether we're doing mantras or whether we're singing hymns or whatever we're doing, in that you can meditate on scripture, you can meditate on whatever, but we're trying to bring the mind into the present. So some of us are warriors and we are always thinking about the past. Some of us are um, some of us are uh, um, afraid of tomorrow and we're always thinking about the future. We want to take that mind away from the past and bring it present, and bring our thoughts into where we are. And that's the whole point. We want to be present. Miss Ori is coming back in, I believe, and then we're going to let you go. This has been a very great conversation and one that needs to continue to be had. To the that you was telling us about the McDonald's and how everything was noisy, and then I started to talk about being able to not having one way to meditate, like meditating standing up with your eyes open, because we have these misnomers that meditation takes on a certain posture, just the same way like me falling in love with Ashtanga yoga, even though that wasn't the first yoga that I was introduced to. And now I can be doctrinal and say this is the way that yoga is, right? And instead of having the flexibility and the room to be able to explore, the movements are all the same. It's just the sequence and the patterns of the movements. So how was that experience when you were going to all of these yoga classes, oh, and experiencing other teachers and maybe stealing some cues and things like that, because that's how we get better, got to learn from somewhere. How was that experience and just being able to meditate in the middle of all of the hustle?
So, yeah. Well, so a couple things. Like one, I was like remarking like how foreign it is that in the West we're like in enclosed rooms, like detached from nature. And then also like each studio having its vibe, its rules, like it's I like felt like there was like a lot of strict like seriousness. And I think like I just want to highlight that because I hear that from a lot of people. Like they might go to one class and be like, "Oh my gosh, like it was so serious and I felt like I like wasn't doing it right and I didn't understand things and like I'm never going again." And it's like, that'd be the same as like going on one date and being like, I guess relationships aren't for me. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different people, there's so many different styles, and so I think it's so important to allow for like wherever you are. And then certainly like online, like you can have teachers from all over the world that you have access to now. And I think it's like you could take it to nature, right? Like you could like put in some Bluetooth headphones, take yourself to the park and just like move. It doesn't have to be a set sequence. If you don't feel comfortable and you want some guidance, then maybe it's like you have an on-demand class, or I mean there's like so many, like yoga in the park series. But I think like more and more, like if you're wanting something more tailored to exactly what you're moving through, like it's such a great opportunity where you could connect with someone one-on-one, or you could have like a small group of people that you feel comfortable with, and you can decide, like you can create like your own s- you know network of people. So this happened in COVID. This was actually like one of the silver linings, is like people like through word of mouth found out about how I'm meeting people where they are. It's not like I'm conjuring a sequence in my head and you show up and I am guiding you through that, which is the studio model, right? This is more like, oh, like you're coming to me and you're asking for these specific things, and I'm tailoring the sequence specifically to meet you where you are. And so I just wanted to highlight that like if you want to be outdoors, if you want to be like in your home where you're comfortable, it doesn't have to be one way, but it's like maybe just take some time to meditate and journal, or like think about like, okay, what would be like the ideal something that I would do every day? Like people don't think like walking is a meditation. It definitely is. If you feel more comfortable having your eyes open, maybe you're just like watching a candle flicker. Like that's very meditative. Having your eyes cast as far as they can see, getting that morning light, that's very meditative. So there's so many different ways to access it. And so maybe it's just like taking some time to figure out what it is that is right for you in this moment. And then, like, how do you orient to make that happen? Because we're so masterful at creating excuses of, like, well, I can't do that because, like, oh, like the studio next door, like, I work and like the schedule doesn't work for me. It's like, you could actually, like, from your bed, just do like 3 stretches And, like, I promise you, if you, like, did that every day for a week, like, you would feel so much better, right? So, just wanting to, like, give everyone a little bit of empowerment of, like, you have agency to make the moves that move you, and I think it's such a worthwhile conversation to just, like, allow that mind to figure it out. And it doesn't even have to be figured out. It's like, okay, I'm gonna make this choice today and then be like, no, that wasn't it. And then tomorrow you try something else. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could just kind of buffet style try like different things. And then it's like, oh, like this is the thing. And then you probably will change your mind because that's how it, like when I was living in New York, like I was only going to like power vinyasa. Like if I could wear my clothes again, I felt like it didn't meet me where I was. Like, I wanted to, like, sweat my face off and have a really powerful class. And now I'm like, "Ugh, I just wanna, like, sit with my dog, drink my coffee," you know? It's, like, a lot more chill energy as I get older. But also, it's I think it's, like, the more you realize that it's connected to spiritual, like, it doesn't have to be, like, I'm gonna kill
I remember
myself,
one time I was leaving
you know?
class in the yoga can like this. There's levels, right? And I'm getting off the train. My friend is like, "What happened to you?" My hamstrings were like, sh-. I'm like walking. Ah, say I did my yoga class today. He said, "I thought yoga's supposed to make you feel good." Like I was going
Yeah.
through like some training too, so when you're constantly like doing certain movements over and over. But that's what happens, right? With the mind, that's what happens with the body. Um, not that we're like not my teacher wasn't killing me, although it might look like that. But when the body begins to expand, it's going to be painful because the resistance is going to say, no, this is where our hamstrings need to be. I couldn't bend my knees. My knees used to swell all the time. My ankles were years of running on concrete, playing sports, not stretching properly at all. And then you think that's who you have to be. Like, oh, my knee's just going to hurt for the rest of my life. No, my knee, I don't have knee pain. I don't have swollen
Yeah.
ankles. And just thinking, oh man, I wish I would have. No, we got to do something. And I encourage people. Some people like there's this whole movement that the yoga postures are demonic and all of these things, which I always get asked, how can you be a preacher and a yoga teacher at the same time? I'm like, how can you not move? Don't if you don't want to call it yoga, don't call it
Yeah.
yoga. If you stretch to run, you're doing some of the same postures.
Mhm.
We have to get out of these labels, right? So when
That's
I
so
pitched to
important.
schools,
Yeah.
we had to pitch, and we didn't say yoga because some parents makes we've went through this in California where the parents are saying that yoga was against Christianity. So we say we do stretching. We don't say namaste. We
Right.
stripped all of the language away. We we broke the mat down. The top of the mat is your mountain, the bottom of your mat is your valley, and everything in between is the flow between. So we stand at our mountains, and then when we're standing at our mountains, we want to be strong and tall, like we're standing on a mountain. So we use those visual social cues so that people won't get so caught up in the labels. The bottom line is this shit works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the more people that we can get to do it, the better off we'll all be.
That's it. Yeah. I know. I'm like, do you think that God wants you to feel
Yes.
good?
Well,
Yeah.
all right. So
Okay.
you believe in a
Then
narrative, like I'm heavy on nostril breathing, and I spend more time now doing breath work than ever before. I get the question all the time. My instructor told me to breathe through my mouth, and I'm like, that's the way that speeds up the heart rate. That actually accelerates
right.
anxiety, and it does everything against
Right.
what it is that we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's it. I know. There was actually, I mean, there's been so many studies on this of the mouth breathing versus the nostril breathing and how the the nostril breathing, it stimulates your parasympathetic, right? The rest and digest state, and so when you're running or doing something cardio, it's actually advised, like, if you switch to mouth breathing, slow down. Like, you're signaling to yourself that you're, like, running from the saber-toothed tiger. Like,
Yeah,
you're, like,
yeah, yeah.
in this, like, survival mode, right? But if you could breathe in and out through the nose, like, and that's your meditation, and it's, like, long, slow, steady strides, like, you're just gonna be that much more
And
at
decision making
ease and at
heightens,
peace and
especially
at
like if you're playing
calm for it.
sports and you're doing it. The body's so that's how come they make a bad decision. But if you can just still moving, but you're breathing through the nose, the body now can see, can become more creative. And you know,
Yeah.
when I'm at my son's AAU basketball practice and they're telling the kids to breathe through their mouth, I'm like, I'm like, just calm down. And I'm
Don't
telling
do
my
it.
son, breathe.
I know.
So,
Mhm. Yeah, it's
yeah.
good relationship advice too. Like, if you find that you're, like, holding your breath, you're, like, like, having kind of, like, an intense conversation, you're like, if you just took a pause before you, like, you knee-jerk reaction and said something that you're gonna regret, and, like, took a really slow inhale and exhale out through the nose, like, come back to compassion and love, and, like, seeking the best in one another, like, knowing that you're having this conversation because you love and you care for one another, that's going to be, like, so much more from a
Yeah.
love space than if you're, like, you know, breathing, like, heavily, or, like, clenching, or, like, holding your breath. And so, I mean, like, that's, like, the
Yeah.
whole, like, movement, right? It's like it's like these different tentacles to everything that we're
Well,
attuning to.
there you have it. We can talk about this stuff all day long. And I would love to have you back again. And we can talk specifically as the year starts, how should people be preparing their mindset to go through it? I'm not a big, and you guys know this, I don't believe in what they call those New Year's resolutions. I'm a whole today guy. If you want to start something, just
Mhm.
start it. Don't make a resolution because then you start to pro- project failure to yourself when you don't do the resolution. You're like, oh, I need to keep my promise to myself. Right? So just do it. Like, and yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
don't
love
beat
that.
yourself up. Be kind to yourself, and don't forget to breathe. All of Miss Ori's
Mhm.
information is in our bio. I mean, in the description. Listen, we only ask of you a few things. One, that you hit like, subscribe, and share. We don't ask you for Cash Apps, Venmos, or Apple Pays, or any of those things. But we do ask that you support our guests. So all of her information is in the bio. And we have so much in common. She grew up in the area I live in now. I grew up in the city. And then she moved to the city, and I'm out of the city. And now she's out of the city again, but we also believe in the work that we do. Now, when we breathe, what I like to do in my class, and you can close with saying something similar. Sometimes I can have 50 people in a room, and when we all start to breathe together, I don't have to tell them to be quiet. I don't have to give
Mhm.
any social cue. The room just starts to quiet down, even the people that are not participating. But we're all breathing from the same air, and we're sharing this community.
Yeah.
And what starts to happen is, if I can get people that of different hues in a room to see that there's no white air, black air, Latino air, Indian air, Jamaican, Trinidadian air, there's just one breath that we're all sharing together as a community. And then the heart starts to really connect within the room. And that's what we're looking to do. We're trying to
Yeah.
connect in a way that transcends our cultural divides. You want to say something to end on that note?
That's it. Ah, that's so beautiful. I always believe what unites us is greater than what divides us. And the breath is a great equalizer. Music is a great equalizer. Connecting in nature. And when we seek for what aligns and we like let that be the lens, then we like see that we're all mirrors for one another, right? Like the body is temporary, the skin is temporary, but the spirit is ephemeral. And I feel like we're each born into the families that we were meant to for this go around, but it's impermanent. And we'll choose different next time, and but really like we're all one. So I think that's such a beautiful reminder to end on, is to lean into connection.
Yeah, and I think it's
And
important, especially where Christmas is coming up and all of these things where we should be celebrating unity. And when everybody turns on the news, it's such a great divide. But for those of you who are with us, we don't walk making excuses. We don't walk with our head down. We walk breathing through our nostrils and understanding that we are all one breath. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to walk in victory. Peace.